YouTube, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, it's been so long. I've been busy. Your boy's been busy. Look at the new camera. I've been setting up things. I have new lighting. I'm still working on lighting. I'm still working on audio, but I had to come back to see this reaction. I saw Coach Greg Adams on the ItsComlicatedChannel, channel, so I'm like, yo, this is gonna be an epic collab. Let me quickly hop on for a minute and see what I can do with some reactions. I know you guys waited for me for a while, so let's get back to this reaction and see what's going on over here.
It's Coach Greg Adams on YouTube. Coach Greg Adams. You can go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Coach Greg Adams. I'm the speaker of truth and the author of The Free Agent Lifestyle.
Coach Greg, before I ask you about you, is there anything you'd like to know about me?
No, how do you ask such good questions?
Just observing how females move as opposed to what they say.
All right. That's important.
Okay, first question is, what red pill do?
I probably always tell people I was red pill about life before I was red pill about women. So I would study kind of what people would consider conspiracies, mistrust, hidden secrets about society and the governments. And so I was always more or less skeptical. And then, of course, when you're a young man in your teens and 20s, you do have some issues understanding women.
What are your thoughts on the current state of the manosphere as opposed to when you first got involved?
The current state, I think it's just been opened up and exposed to more people. And the people who come in are not really about the space. They're more about trying to maybe change women and change their mindset. And that's probably the wrong approach.
Why do you think the manosphere spends so much time focusing on masculinity rather than misandry?
Interesting. I think masculinity is probably what helps society push forward. And a lot of times masculinity is the one thing people attack.
I think it's because you can't complain about girls hating you, or which is like the hatred of misandry is like the hatred of men, which would be like what some women are doing. But it's not, as a man, you can't complain about that. You just gotta move on. So you might as well just overcome that with masculinity. So it's just, that's the way I see it.
To make social change. So masculinity is probably more important than misandry.
Why does the manosphere spend so much time on self-improvement and men grooming themselves to please toxic women that just want to use them and bring nothing to the table?
I think inherently men are aware that women don't bring much to the table. So when the argument is opposite, this sometimes might get men flustered and say women bring nothing to the table.
Where do you hope to see the manosphere in 5 years?
In a healthier position than it is now.
Is there more of a mutual brotherhood between men or a mutual sisterhood between women?
Oh my goodness,
women.
That's not even close. I think men are competitive. There's definitely a hierarchy. So women stay on code to get what they want. So yeah.
Why are women able to unite and create a standard for men, but men can't unite and create a standard for women?
Well, it helps women. Women inherently need to be able to control the narrative to create standards, right? So, and men are
just way too competitive. Like it's almost like a dog eat dog world. Like we do things in a hierarchy. Women do things in like communitarian. It's like almost like communist versus like capitalism. It's women don't want to compete, so they like, oh, you get one, you get one. Men will say, hey, I'm gonna take everything. I'm gonna win everything.
probably weak in order to men are going to look at it like, if this guy doesn't qualify or have a standard, I can have it and then I'm win.
Why aren't you able to talk about the needs and wants of men without automatically undermining the needs and wants of women?
Women are like children.
Why does it have to be a zero-sum game?
From what perspective?
It's like if men are winning, women are losing. If women are...
yeah. I think, again, women are like...
What it is like, it's like, because women nowadays want to be like men. So for a woman to be able to compete with a man has to lower himself so they can compete. That's why you have affirmative actions. You have like quotas, like to help women get into the workforces. Women don't want to compete with men, but they want the same privileges as men. So for them to get the same privileges, you almost got to lower men so you can elevate women. So that's what it is.
children. They just don't see things as fair, and they need men to change whatever's not fair as opposed to them changing it.
Correct.
Vice versa, it doesn't work.
Who do you think cares more about masculinity, men or women?
Women.
Women need masculinity, so women.
Are men conditioned by other men to act a certain way, and why?
Absolutely. Hierarchy. I think the competition between men is definitely going to dictate men change their behavior.
What's the difference between calling a man a beta male and shaming a man for not being a real man?
No difference.
Oh, man. You got some tough questions. Can you give me that one again?
What is the difference between calling a man a beta male and shaming a man for not being a real man?
Man, what is the wow? Okay, I'm going to say women need to control the narrative to say a man's not a real man. I don't think a man would use that phraseology. They would just call a beta male. So the difference between is what a man would say and what a woman would say.
Why do men even have to be labeled alpha or beta males in the first place?
I don't like the labels, to be honest with you. I think they're
I don't like the labels either, but I don't want to be I don't want to be in the same category as some of these men. Like I have nothing in common with them. I don't think like them. I think they're bringing me down. So I rather if we're gonna have categories, so you don't have to think that I'm one of them. I prefer using the alpha and beta, but I don't like those titles either. But it's the closest thing that we have to help us kind of like maneuver the space.
Somebody probably studied it and probably somebody debunked it. I don't like the labels.
If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
Tough question. I think inherently men would like to do well by women. So
it's all about purpose, man. Like as a man, you need purpose. You need like goals. You need ambition. Like you need something to thrive for. You gotta have like a dragon to kill. It's we're conquerors. Like you have to be able to thrive and be able to fight.
this is why the burden exists.
If being masculine is a natural process, why are men often shamed to be sculpted that way?
Is it a natural progress? I don't think it's a natural progress.
Process, yeah.
I don't think it's a natural process. I don't think masculinity is a natural process. So I would assume that some men fail at it and some men achieve it.
Do you feel the same way about femininity? Is femininity a natural process?
I think it's necessary. I think when you remove the necessity for it, women adapt and they become more masculine.
Why are men expected to sculpt themselves when women don't do the same for men?
Men don't have standards for women.
No, that's wrong, Coach. Come on, we do, but when we do have standards, we get shamed for it. And we kind of hide our standards in the background because we don't get canceled. But men do have standards, but they just don't say it out loud.
What's the difference between feminist women shaming men for being men and traditional women shaming men for not being real men?
It's the same thing.
Man. Give it to me one more time.
Okay.
Oh, Coach is shuffling.
What's the difference between feminist women shaming men for being men and traditional women shaming men for not being real men?
Is there a difference between that?
Would that equate modern misandry to feminism and traditional misandry to chivalry?
Yeah, I think both of them, I think to me, just to be honest, are equally dangerous because when women shame men to be real men, it's often in service and to be able to get and receive. I think feminists, on the other hand, use it as a shame of the patriarchy. You have control.
Don't both place women at a status above men?
Correct.
I don't think so.
Don't both allow women to define the man's masculinity?
Correct.
Yes.
So wouldn't that be placing women at a status above men?
It could be, yes.
Oh, you shuffling, Coach.
Just to be honest, I think that I think inherently they both want us to give them something.
Just because you're anti-feminist, does that necessarily mean you're pro-men?
No.
Don't anti-feminists often push chivalry, which still places women above men?
Correct.
Why is everyone pushing for traditional gender roles and marriage without first changing the laws? Have you seen the divorce rates?
I don't understand why people do that. I think the laws are the biggest thing that need to change, not the gender roles.
Why are men more focused on self-improvement than men's rights?
Because of
Because we can't do anything about it. Like, we lost the war. Women are in a way to in all forms of government, all forms of like local and county, races and stuff like that. So they hold all the power. So at this point in time, you just be the best man you can be, and kind of like just do what you got to do. But you're not gonna change. We're not going back to 1950s. We're just not going back.
I think the hierarchy, I think they're going to establish a position where they win and another guy loses. That's the end of it.
How does being masculine help men who are screwed over by the family court system?
It doesn't.
Doesn't help at all. Doesn't help at all.
How does being masculine help men who are falsely accused?
It doesn't.
Doesn't help at all.
Whether a man is masculine or not, doesn't he still deserve equal justice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So once again, why is there so much talk about masculinity rather than men's rights?
That's a good question.
I already answered that.
Are women the problem, or are the people influencing women the problem?
The people influencing women are the problem.
I think both.
Why does the manosphere talk about female nature if men's issues are mostly with modern Western women?
I think modern Western women have been able to manipulate the system more to heighten female nature.
Were women like this in the past, and are women like this overseas?
I think women were like this in the past. They just were not allowed the opportunity to flourish.
Correct.
So is it female nature or female nurture?
Nature.
It's a female nature or female
Evolution,
I still think it's
evolutionary
female nature. I think
biology.
the natural capacity for them to want to do things, to disrupt, to add chaos is always going to be present.
Why do people assume that things can't change when history has proven that things have already changed?
True. Some people, yeah.
I mean, things can change, but it doesn't mean you can go backwards. We're saying that there is no pendulum swinging backwards. This is the new norm. It's gonna change to the point where it's gonna be a different norm, but there's no going backwards. It's just not going backwards.
Some people don't think things can change.
Should we be blaming simps for women's bad behavior?
Yes.
I don't know why people do that.
What?
Didn't women set the terms that they needed to be served and put on a pedestal, which created simping in the first place?
Correct.
Yep.
If this imbalance is created by women, why are we blaming the victim?
No. If you, it's like a government subsidizing a company or like student loans. Like, the more money that you subsidize something, the more incentive somebody has to do it. So if simps stop simping, there's no need. There's no way for there to be an economy for like OnlyFans. Like, simps are the problem.
I mean, wouldn't simps almost be a victim of the standards imposed by women?
Correct, I think, but the women still benefit. So
But you want to purchase
I think
it.
they want to protect the simp, if you will.
If sex wasn't a need for men, how would women as a standard manipulate men through
They
sex?
would not.
Not at all. It would be impossible.
Why didn't we have all these simps in the past? Where did they all come from?
The simps in the past.
We didn't have hypergamy to the level that we had. We didn't have hypergamy to the point where women could get DM'd by Drake. That's what it is. Like, now that there's like an open sexual marketplace, these women can hop on Instagram and get so many different dudes. And back then it was like your local dudes. You had choice between like 5 different guys. Now, the sky's the limit.
I think potentially, I don't think you would be able to simp as much. I think there would be some checks and balances with other men.
Correct.
Aren't simps a byproduct of what feminism has caused?
Potentially, I could see some justification for that.
All right, guys, it's been 15 minutes. I'm gonna wrap it here. It was fun to watch. Coach was stumbling over some of these questions, even though it should have been easy for Coach. It was fun. It was fun to watch this, and it's fun to be back. I don't know when my next video is gonna be. I just hopped on real quick to do this reaction, but I hope you guys enjoy. Till next time, deuces. Oh, now cameras are here now.